Did you ever think you'd see the day? The Prince of Darkness, gone. Just saying it feels wrong. Feels strange. Feels heavy. Ozzy Osbourne, the legend, the voice of an entire generation, passed away at the age of 76. Even now, it almost doesn't seem real, does it? For decades, he was larger than life. A man who seemed unstoppable. Who lived his life on the edge, sometimes past the edge, and somehow kept going. He was loud, he was wild, he was unpredictable, and through it all, he became one of the most iconic, most loved rock stars the world has ever known. And now, just weeks after what turned out to be his last, emotional farewell performance, he's gone. It's hard to wrap your head around. If you're like me, you probably grew up with his music. Maybe you remember cranking up Paranoid in your bedroom when your parents told you to turn it down. Maybe you sang along to Crazy Train at a concert, losing your voice because you just couldn't stop. Or maybe you remember sitting in front of your TV, watching his reality show, shaking your head and laughing as he mumbled his way through the house, cursing at the dogs, and being just Ozzy. Whatever your memory is of him, it's personal. Because Ozzy wasn't just a rock star. He felt like family. That's why this hurts so much. That's why it feels like we've lost someone we actually knew. And you're not alone in that feeling. Right now, millions of fans around the world are mourning too. People who never met him, never even got the chance to see him in person, but still felt like he was a part of their lives. That's what music does. That's what legends do. So what really happened? Ozzy had been struggling for years, though he never let it stop him completely. Back in 2020, he went public with his diagnosis. Parkinson's disease. He didn't have to tell the world. He could have kept it quiet, let the rumors swirl, pretended he was fine. But that wasn't who he was. He said it plainly. I have Parkinson's. And if you know anything about the disease, you know how cruel it can be. It slowly takes away your control over your body. Your hands shake. Your legs don't move the way you want them to. Simple things like speaking, eating, even standing up become challenges. But even as his body started to betray him, his mind, his spirit, his soul, stayed the same. That's something everyone noticed. That spark never left. Even just a few weeks ago, he stood on stage for his farewell show. He'd been hinting at it for a while, that this might be his last. But nobody wanted to believe it. Nobody wanted it to really be true. That night, he walked out on stage slower than usual. You could see it in the way he moved, the way he leaned on the mic stand a little more than he used to. But when he smiled, when he looked out at the crowd and heard them screaming his name, you could see that little gleam in his eye again. That unmistakable energy that only he had. And he gave everything he had left to give. He sang. He joked. He thanked his fans over and over. Even as his voice cracked and his legs wobbled, he kept going. It was raw. It was emotional. It was Ozzy. One fan who was there said afterward, it felt like he was saying goodbye without saying goodbye. And now, looking back, we know that's exactly what it was. After that show, his health declined quickly. He spent his final days at home, surrounded by his family. His wife Sharon was there. His kids were there. Close friends. People who truly knew him, who loved him, who had seen him at his best and his worst. And that's how he wanted it. Quiet. Peaceful. No cameras. No flashing lights. It was his time. And he left this world the same way he lived in it, on his own terms. You know, it's easy to forget sometimes that our heroes are human. We see them on stage, larger than life, seemingly untouchable. We forget that behind all of that, they're just people. People who hurt. People who fear. People who fight silent battles that we don't always see. Ozzy's story is a reminder of that. A reminder that you can be vulnerable and still be strong. That you can be broken and still inspire millions. Because make no mistake, even in his final years, he was inspiring people every single day. Here's something most people don't know. For all the headlines about his wild antics, the bats, the drugs, the chaos, he was incredibly disciplined when it came to facing his illness. Doctors will tell you, Parkinson's isn't just a physical fight. It's a mental one. You wake up every morning knowing it's going to get harder. That the things you could do yesterday might not be possible today. That the road ahead is only going to get rougher. But he never gave up. Not once. Even when he could barely stand on his own, he kept showing up. Even when his voice shook, he kept singing. Even when his hands trembled, he kept signing autographs for fans who waited hours just to see him. One of his doctors even said, Ozzy was one of the most determined patients I've ever seen. And the way he handled it publicly? That's worth admiring too. Most celebrities would have hidden it. They would have cancelled shows, stayed quiet, let people speculate. But not Ozzy. He said, this is me. This is what I'm dealing with. And because of that, millions of people around the world felt less alone in their own struggles. People who were scared to admit they were sick. People who thought nobody could understand. People who needed to see that even someone like Ozzy Osbourne could face it with courage. That's the kind of man he was. And here's another little story about him that I love. In his final days, even while he was bedridden, he made sure to thank the people who had been by his side all those years. Not just his family. Not just his fans. But his road crew. His bandmates. The people who worked behind the scenes to keep the show going. He sent them all handwritten notes. Can you imagine that? A man who could barely hold a pen, struggling to write, but still taking the time to say thank you. That's who he really was. And that's why it hurts so much to say goodbye. Because losing Ozzy feels like losing a little piece of ourselves. So now, I want to ask you something. What's your favorite memory of him? Was it a song that got you through a dark time? Was it seeing him live on stage, screaming your lungs out, feeling the music in your bones? Or maybe it was just a silly moment from his reality show that made you laugh when you needed it most. Whatever it is, share it. Write it down. Tell the world. Because that's how we keep him alive. And if this story touched you, if you felt even just a little bit of that old magic listening to this, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Not just for me. Not just for this channel. But for Ozzy. Because his legacy deserves to live on. And if you want to relive some of his most iconic moments, don't go anywhere. We've got another video waiting for you right now. You won't believe the real story behind that infamous bat incident. Trust me, it's worth it. Ozzy taught us something we should never forget. No matter how dark it gets, no matter how hard life becomes, the music never dies. So rest easy, Ozzy. And thank you. Thank you for everything.